Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Nick from the Antiochian Village, and today we're going to be going over one of my personal favorite workouts, the Murph, or the body armor workout. Let's get right after it. I'll tell you what's up, and we'll kind of run through it, and then I'll show you what some of the exercises look like, and you should have a good idea on kind of what you can do with your own physical ability. All right, so overall the workout breakdown is a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then another 1 mile run. Now you can break that up however you want, except the 1 mile run and both 1 mile runs have to be at either end of the workout. So you have to start and end with the 1 mile run. But if you wanted to break up those 100 pull-ups or 200 push-ups or 300 squats into different sets, if you wanted to do them in different orders, that's totally fine. So for me personally, I choose to do 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 15 air squats. That means that I finish in about 20 sets. So that's pretty manageable for me. I can do about 20 sets of that, taking pretty minimal rest, which is good for me. But some of you might be better than me or worse than me as far as like that sort of split is concerned. And everybody's different. So there are some people that they find, pull-ups easier than they do air squats, or push-ups easier than pull-ups. So maybe your sets might vary or differ. But it's really important to break them up in a way that you can easily keep track of. So for me, one of the things that I like to use, and kind of like a little hack, is I use a chalk bag. I have this from back when I used to go rock climbing all the time, and my time as the ropes course coordinator at the Antiochian Village. And so what I use chalk for is kind of a dual purpose. So I use it to make sure that my hands don't get ripped up by the pull-up bar, because my pull-up bar's knurling is fairly aggressive. So I like to keep my hands a little bit safe using this, but I also use it, I don't know if you can see, for tallies. So I tally my workout up. So once I get to 10, I know that I'm halfway, and then I start erasing tallies as I go, which brings me into something else. What I use to erase tallies is the same thing I use to hydrate, which is water. Water is very important. You're gonna wanna be drinking throughout the workout, lest you get dehydrated, especially, for example, today, it's like 85 or 90 degrees, and the humidity is off the charts. So it's really important that you stay hydrated and safe when you're doing this workout. Another important note is that kind of huge block may seem overwhelming, but like I said, you split it up into smaller sections and you do it for time. So that means that you can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want, which kind of gives you some sort of variability. Maybe it'll take you all day to finish the workout, probably not. There are various times that you can look up on the internet, but that kind of varies depending on what type of pull-up that people do. Some people in CrossFit choose to do a kipping pull-up, which can be incredibly fast, and it's also not as much, there's not as much muscle required on your back in particular to do that motion, because you're using a lot of momentum. But that's what they do to compete, and that's their sport, and I'm not here to judge that. The way that I do it is a way that fits my training goals. So I have to reach a certain standard for pull-ups, so I'm gonna do pull-ups that way, and my push-ups will be done the same way that I have to reach for my standards. That being said, we all have different fitness goals. We all have different levels of ability, and each of these exercises should be scalable to your level of ability. And I'm going to give you a few examples of what can make movements a little bit easier, or ways that we can build up to doing this workout in its entirety, with the fullest challenge. And that's totally fine. You can approach that. But for you, maybe the challenge is just the 1 mile run at the beginning. And maybe for you, 1 mile is too much. Maybe you should do a half a mile at the beginning and a half a mile at the end. That's how I personally started. So really this workout is scalable, but the official Murph workout is the 1 mile run, the 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, 1 mile run. But the most important part is that you get out and challenge yourself. And that's kind of what Mike Murphy was all about, and that's why he loved this workout so much. So yeah, let's get into the mandatory equipment required for this workout. So I've already talked about a couple things regarding mandatory equipment. Obviously, if you're going to be doing pull-ups, you're going to need a pull-up bar. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have a pull-up bar, there are plenty of playgrounds in your area that probably have a pull-up bar by them. And depending on what your restrictions are with COVID, you may or may not be allowed to go and do pull-ups there. But make sure you ask your parents and alert them of where you are and kind of what you're doing. Heck, maybe they want to do it with you. That being said, there are some other options that you can do for pull-ups that you can Google online. But this is kind of what I do. I built this myself. and they're pretty simple. You can get ones that hang in the doorway that are very easy to set up. But doing pull-ups is a big part of the workout because pull-ups are one of the most challenging exercises, in my opinion, that we have. So pull-up bar is definitely mandatory. That being said, you also need hydration and good running shoes. For me, I'm wearing combat boots today, but normally when I do this workout, I'm normally running in some nice, Nike Vaporflies because I don't want to mess up my feet. But if you have a good pair of, for example, these boots are Nike Gen 2 SFB boots. They're pretty much just like tennis shoes anyway, and I go running in these things all the time. But of course, if you're an avid runner, you'll know what a good shoe is and you'll know what shoe works for you. Like I said, the important thing is that you're getting out there and you're challenging yourself. And if 1 mile is too much, you can always scale it back. That's kind of the beautiful thing about working out, is if you're not ready for that full aggressive hardcore challenge, you know what, maybe hardcore challenge for you is getting up and running, just getting up off the couch and running for a day. That's totally different than somebody who's, all the time, always doing fitness. They're waking up at 4:30 in the morning and getting after it. Maybe that'll be you one day, but it's important that we kind of slowly ease into things. I think that's kind of a lesson for life as well as working out that's really important to learn.
So right here we're going to be going over pull-ups. So you want to get a grip that's roughly a little bit outside shoulder width. Your thumb is going to overwrap the rest of your hand, and we're going to keep those scapula, your shoulder blades, nice and retracted and depressed. We're not kipping up too much. We're not kicking our legs high. We're just pulling up to the bar, chin's going over. So right here is an improper way. We're kind of just jumping up to the bar using all momentum. And that's obviously not a correct pull-up. Now here's that CrossFit kipping style pull-up. This is using a ton of momentum. Also not a real pull-up. Once again, here, improper pull-up technique. We're not coming down all the way to do a dead hang. Here's what a bad dead hang looks like when my shoulders are pinched behind my neck. Much better form to kind of keep your shoulders out so that you're not hurting yourself, because you can really injure your shoulders that way. Now right here is a proper way to do a pull-up if you're running out of energy in the Murph workout. You can kind of jump up and then slowly control your fall. You don't want to slam down into the bottom position because you can injure your shoulders, but that nice and controlled descent is good. So is a dead hang like this, where as you can see, my head's pretty far up. Back at it again. Here's a couple good pull-ups. I am kipping a little bit with my legs, but that's okay. Here we got push-ups. Push-ups, they're individual, but I recommend, hands a little bit outside shoulder width and rotated slightly to like 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. So here, my chest is full, totally touching the ground, and that's how they're to be done for my Navy PSD. I'm not worried about doing them this way, which is just to 90 degrees. That's okay, you can do that. But I'm training for my goals. This is a way that hurts your shoulders. Arms positioned at 90 degrees and you're pressing sort of onto your neck. That's really bad. There's too far in. That's a different type of push-up. You can do tricep push-ups that way. Here's another acceptable way to do push-ups if you run out of energy or you don't have the strength to yet. Knees on the ground. I'm still going chest to ground. You don't have to do that. Here we go, some air squats. So for this, my hip crease passes my knee, and that's when I know I've gone to proper depth. Most people cheat on squats. They don't go high enough. Here's a front view. We're just squatting down. Feet are a little bit wider than shoulder width, but then again, that's totally up to the individual. Now here's a really deep squat. This is also acceptable, but people find this difficult. So, perhaps this isn't the best way to do it. Like I said, totally depends on you. Here's a cheating squat. we feel like we're squatting, but we're not actually shaking the head. That's a no-go. And then here's another weird variation I see sometimes. Bent, hunched back, and not squatting all the way down. But you feel like you're going that far down because you're bending your back over. Once again, there's just true proper form. You could even do hands out if you wanted to. It doesn't make a huge difference. Whatever feels good for you.
I just want to take a minute to thank you guys so much for watching. The point of this video isn't really that you need to complete this ostentatious, extremely difficult workout. That's not exactly the point. The point is, let's get active. That's kind of the whole point of this segment, and that's going to be a theme throughout the rest of the summer. If this is too difficult, if that block seems too big, too hard to attain, I'd encourage you to try it anyway. Really breaking things up into smaller sections really does make things go by and feel a lot quicker. And I just recommend that this workout is, once again, totally scalable to what you can do with your body. So if you can't do a complete pull-up, which most people can't, let alone 5, let alone 100, you know, do some pull-up negatives, do some dead hangs, figure out a different way to work out your back that's not as physically taxing or strenuous if you really can't make it 20 sets all the way through. Heck, making it halfway through a Murph is just a big deal, in my personal opinion. Like I said, don't feel like you have to go out and do everything that is prescribed in this workout. Don't feel like if you don't do it in its entirety, you're not honoring Mike Murphy. Really, it's about challenging yourself. And that's kind of the whole point. Maybe try to step outside your comfort zone. If you slacked off working out this whole summer and you've got a sport coming up, or maybe you just want to get better and faster and stronger, you know, why not work out? There's no point not to. And with all that being said, it is indeed Murph Monday, and you know what that means. We gotta smash the like button, hit those notification bells, like, comment, and subscribe, so that we can get merch and sponsors like Raid Shadow Legends to come out and sponsor Murph Monday. All jokes aside, just get out there and challenge yourself. This was Ashworth. I'm out.